Hey, it's Monica with King's Titan Homestead, and oh my gosh, this week is absolutely going crazy. So I had a bee removal. Actually, it was two bee removals at the same place. Bees were allowed to be established for a few years, and the comb was just black as can be. Really, really, really old comb. One of the hives was substantially larger than the other. However, they both were extremely defensive. And so here's the first hive that we did. It was located at the very back side of the garage. And so here's the first one. Okay, so I was relying on my help just to take pictures because these girls were so nasty that instead of just wearing, I normally just wear nitrile gloves or latex gloves. Prefer nitrile when I can find them. But so that's what I normally wear, like 9 mil or 11 mil gloves. But I have some backup gloves in case they are pretty defensive, and in both these cases, I had to use some of the heavy duty gloves. So the second group, though they were not as big, they were just going at, I mean, they wanted to, I had probably 50, 75 stings on my gloves. I don't normally do bee removals during daylight hours. I normally only do them at night for safety and containment. But this was in an area where it was it was rural enough for me to be able to go ahead and work them starting in the early evening. So I started both of these around 4, and both of them we finished right around a little bit after dark. So we were able to get the returning foragers and stuff. But what happens is that sometimes they just go on such a defense that they go and start attacking things and people up to 200 yards away. So those are things that we have to be extremely cautious with. So if you're dealing with Africanized bees and you're in a residential area, you don't want to do these kind of hives during daylight hours. But because of where I was at, I was able to do them when it was still light out, which was really nice. But the bees were very flighty because of that. And so here is the second hive. Now the second hive literally overgrew its little compartment that it chose and was starting to show open air in the garage. I mean, so inside the garage you could actually see part of the hive. Though because of it being in February, they're coming out of winter, and they had no honey stores left on this hive. So the stuff that you see just hanging out, that was all dry comb. No honey. They had very little brood. I think that the other colony that was on the end of the garage was actually robbing the colony that was in the middle of the garage. And that made this colony very angry. They were hungry and angry. Okay, here we go. This is the empty part of the colony. All that wax is not being utilized right now because they build that out in spring, and then as they get smaller in winter time they shrink. So let's go take a peek up higher.
Yeah, she's got one bucket right there. Yeah.
And there, oh, we're getting some activity. You can hear them. So what do we do with these hives? Special thanks to Amanda and Cheryl for helping me with both of those. They were able to wire or rubber band the brood into empty frames for me. And when they got in the apiary here, we reintroduced the bees to their brood. Of course, you have to keep the brood warm while they're in transport. But what do we do with them? So people have asked me questions about like the requeening. Oh, they're never going to be, you know, nice bees. They will be. That's the thing. That's why we save them. So these extremely defensive Africanized hybrid colonies, we bring them back. We let them reestablish for a short period of time. Not long, just long enough for them to settle in and to, you know, for the queen to start laying again, for all the trauma to be kind of fixed, you know, have them fix their comb. You know, we're feeding them, we're giving them sugar syrup, we're giving them protein patties. You know, we're doing mite treatments, we're doing all kinds of stuff for them. And once they get settled in, then we kill their queen. And then we introduce, and I normally introduce, a European Italian queen bee. And within 2 months, the genetics of the hive is switched over. Remember, worker bees only live about 45 days. So from the time period of the last emerged worker bee from the Africanized queen, and then having a new queen starting to lay and switch out the life cycles of these worker bees, all of a sudden, this Africanized that was once Africanized is now a European. Like I said, it takes 2 months during the winter time, up to 3 months time period, but that's it. I have literally gone back in just to prove that these Africanized hives can be changed over, can be saved, can become good products of, you know, like productive organisms within a society. We can actually take these hives back and put them in a residential area and not have to worry about them, as long as they're being maintained, as long as they're making sure that it's still that European queen. The colony has been saved. There is no reason to euthanize or exterminate an Africanized hive, but sometimes it takes a little bit more than what a lot of beekeepers are willing to do to save them. Extremely large hives that are defensive, double deeps, I break them up into 5 nucleus colonies. That means I need 5 queens. You can't just go in and requeen an Africanized hive with 1 queen when they're that large and that defensive. I basically utilize just kind of like a defensive level, and I requeen them accordingly. Some of them you can requeen just like you would requeen a European. Others, it takes a lot more work to get them to accept. A lot more work, time, resources, everything. So those of you that are out there that are, you can't do that, that's not, you know, no. I do. And we do. There is a lot of beekeepers here in southern Arizona especially. We save bees, we save Africanized bees, we requeen them, we make them docile. I mean, as docile as any European Italian queen bee hive will be. That's just the facts. Hope you enjoyed these videos, and if you do, please like, don't forget to subscribe and share if you don't mind. Have a good day, y'all, and believe me, there's going to be a lot more, because today, here we go. Today I have I have to go check 2 places, 2 complaints, bees getting into air ducts and bees getting into a skylight. Then I'm running to check my trap out. My aunt just checked it. She said bees were getting back in, so I've got to go back and fix that trap out. And then I have a call for a swarm. If the swarm's still there, I got to go get that. And then I have a removal tonight. So 5 different situations happening with bees just this afternoon. So things are crazy. Stay tuned for more bee stuff. One last little thing that I want to mention is that in the ABJ, or American Bee Journal, this is the November 2018 edition. My Uncle Ron Miksha did an article, and there we go. That hive was previously Africanized, and I made it into a European hive by changing out the queen. I don't normally go into hives without veils and things. Unfortunately, this article caused a couple of my local hobbyists to go work their bees without a veil, and they got stung. They didn't realize their hive was taken over by Africanized, and then one of them did it on a kind of a cloudy day, and their European hive was just grouchy because the weather wasn't perfect for opening up a hive. So I don't promote going into your hives without at least a veil on. People that do that need to put disclaimers, because people that are new to beekeeping need to understand that any hive can be grouchy. They could be having a bad day. It doesn't matter whether they're Africanized or if they're European. So just approach with caution. And then after you know that the hive is nice and calm and doing, just kind of going about their day and not even worried that you're in there doing an inspection, if you want to then be one with your hive and take your veil off, go for it. But just always proceed with caution. I can't stress that enough. Wow. I'm watching way too many. Actually, I don't watch them. People send them to me. YouTube videos of people going out and doing bee removals and hive inspections and not wearing any protective gear. Bad idea. Start with protective gear, or at least have it with you, because you can get caught very easily by just leaving yourself susceptible to that kind of situation. So always be safe, especially around our bees.